Everybody, it's Lee with Arbor Now, Texas, and we're over here planting some fruit trees. It's early spring, we're just at the beginning of April. And if you take a look, this is what we have right here. The customer has chosen this area to be a small fruit orchard. We've got 5 different fruit trees. We picked our trees up at Costco. So whenever you pick up trees somewhere, just make sure you're looking at the health of the tree. Make sure you're checking all the most important parts of the tree, making sure everything's really healthy. But let's get down to planting. So I've singled out where I want the tree. I had staged everything with flags, so that way I could make sure that I was putting it right where the customer wanted. Now we've got that figured out. This is exactly where it's going to go. So I don't want to dig and put it straight in the soil. I want to make sure that I give it a little bit of room because I want it to have room to grow, and I don't want anybody weed eating anywhere near my plant. So I measure out, say 4 or 5 inches from the pot itself. So I come out about 4 or 5 inches, and then I'll dig down and peel it up. So I'm going to do this all the way around. This is how I'm going to mark where my plant's going to be. Now, this is thick clay soil, and a lot of people will fill the hole with some fancy kind of topsoil. That is not the best way to do this. The best thing to do is put native soil back in your hole. So that's what we're going to be doing today, but we will be dressing out the top layer with some new compost because that's also good. So now I've got my plant in place. I've got my hole decided where I'm going to be. I just take a look at this soil. Look how dense that is. I could easily make a clay pot with that. I feel like I could make a figurine. So this clay soil is really dense. The problem is clay soil is so good at holding on to nutrients that it's one of the most nutrient dense soils. The problem is that it holds on to water. So you'll create the water bowl effect if you were to refill this hole with just fancy, easy draining kind of compost, which is what we have in our bucket over here. So we're going to reuse a lot of this clay. And I just want to get mostly the grass layer out, which is the top 3 or 4 inches of soil. There we go. Get some of this stuff out here. Okay, now I'm down to the media that I'm going to work with. See some grubs. Those aren't good. And now I want to dig a pocket planting style hole. Pocket planting is holding the base of your pot, outside the pot, base of your root system in place and making sure that it can't topple over easily. Then making it to where the roots can slope away and be in the right section for soil. But it's going to look like it's really high, but it's supposed to be that way. So let me get the hole prepared here. Now remember, I'm not going down super deep. I never want, let's take a look at it real quick. Here's the plant we're planting, this peach. I never want the top of my root cap, which is right here under the soil line, to be lower than my soil line. So it needs to be right here. So I'm not digging very deep to make this right here. And that's the idea. And even a little higher is better than too low, as long as in the dry season, you can get it the proper amount of water. Man, this soil is super heavy. So as I'm digging, I pulled away my grass. Now this portion of the soil, I'm trying to set aside because this is what I'm going to backfill my hole with. I'm going to need to use clay to backfill my hole. For the most part, the top few inches can be a nice new soil, but I want to make sure that I use the native soil for the lower portions of it. That's what's going to keep from causing the water bowl effect. The water bowl effect is this clay doesn't penetrate water very well, so the water will just sit in this hole. And one of the things that we'll do to decide how good of percolation that we have is we'll fill the hole about 1/4 way with water. That's a really smart decision. So while I'm almost there right now, I'm setting this stuff aside. I'm getting really close to where I want to be. Right in here, I can start to judge my hole depth. Now check this out. Here's my root line. Here's my soil line, really close. I don't want to go any deeper than this. And if you go too deep, water will also penetrate that part you dug out a lot better than other places. So I don't want to go too deep at all. But I'm in the right depth right now. I just need to square up the edges of my hole so that way the pot can sit nice and flat and level. And that's an important part that we're going to check out as soon as we get this in here, is how level it is. So this is just about right. This looked good. So getting my plant out of the pot, if it'll come out easily, just pull it up, hold it steady like this. I'm gonna set it like right here, just to double check. Everything looks good. Let's get some water in the hole. DeAndre, if you got it. We're gonna fill it up about 1/4 of the way. And we're gonna check the percolation real quick. The best kind of water you can use is either filtered water, water from rain barrels, or well water if you have it. But if you're using city water, like we're out on a ranch, so you would expect this to have a good type of water. Well, it does have some chlorine in it. So if you can let it sit for, at least 8 hours, but up to 24, all that chlorine will dissipate out of there. We don't want to kill the good microbes that are in this soil that we're going to put in here. So here, I'm going to check it out. That is right on the money, right where I want it. Now I look at the plant. It's leaning back this way just a little bit. So by righting the plant, there we go. I'm going to take a little bit of my good soil that I'm reusing, and I'm going to use it to prop the base of it up. Set it back down. Now it looks really level. That's what I'm going for. I'm going to take this good soil and I'm going to crumple it up because I do want some air space in between some of the bits. There is going to be some good air pockets in here. I want to trap a little bit of air if you can. Not big air pockets, small ones. They're called macro pores. And we'll be able to make that happen as we put this in. I'm going to pack it in too, because that's going to be good to keep the plant nice and stable. We get high winds out here, so we don't want to have the wind blowing over our new plant. All right, so salvage all that good soil that I can. Get rid of the stolons. Okay, now I'm gonna go back to the stuff that I dug up earlier and get some more of that. I want my hole to be mostly filled with native soil. Native soil is where it's at. The top 6 to 12 inches of soil is the best. That's considered your topsoil that has the most microbe action. And that's what we're gonna try and preserve, some of those microbes. Okay, I'm really close to about as full as I need it to be for native soil. I'm packing this in and we're gonna hit it with water one more time. And the water's gonna help it settle. All right, that should be good. You don't want any standing water. Now I've got some good garden mix right here. I've got compost and sand, and this is going to be my top dressing just for the top 2 inches, 2 to 3 inches. This is my top dressing. And to make it look nice, I'm mounding it away and giving the plant plenty of space so that way it doesn't have to fight with the grass or the weeds for a little while. And packing it in place, I'm going to create a natural berm right where the grass line is, just with my fingers. Later I'm going to cover this up with a little bit of mulch. Now I can leave this staked up, but I want to make sure that any tags are loose. So it's okay to leave this tag on here. This is a June Gold peach variety. I'm actually going to leave all of this because this is loose and it will help protect the tree from sun scald for a little while. Shouldn't be an issue with the peach. They like it nice and hot. I'll leave this with the advertisements, but I'm just loosening the tags to make sure that nothing's too tight before I finish up, and it looks good. So this guy is ready. We're going to move on to the next plant. We are going to do a little bit more watering once we get the compost in place, and I'm going to tuck it in with a tiny bit of fertilizer too. All right, we'll check in next time. All we're doing next is putting a little bit of compost. You got the idea, but if you guys are getting ready to plant some fruit trees, take these tips on so that way you don't kill your fruit trees in the future and they do really well, produce lots of fruit. See you guys next time.